The Willard Library opened in Evansville, Indiana in 1885, making it the oldest public library in the state. For decades, rumors have claimed a ghost inhabits the building, while others have said many ghosts could be wandering about the library. Willard is a 3.5-acre landscaped park and is said to be the home of the Gray Lady, the world's most famous library ghost. Welcome to the Phantom Archives.
This is gonna be interesting. It's our first time doing things.
Yeah.
Things like this.
Welcome.
Here, I'm Aiden. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself first. I'm Aiden.
Yeah, go ahead.
From San Diego. Well, I'm living in San Diego. I go to college at San Diego State, and I'm a little bit of a nerd. I'm big in the gaming field, and I don't believe in ghosts, not particularly.
You don't believe in anything?
Are you
Ghosts, demons?
Oh, do I believe in something, but it's hard. It's hard to say. You know, I don't think I prescribe to a mainstream way of thinking.
Are you an open-minded? If you got proof to your own being, no one else would believe you, but it's proof to you that you know it happened and you know what it is. So it's like,
yeah. I'd say I'm pretty open-minded. I like to prescribe to like life is what you experience, but it's also what we know. But most of what I want to like hold true to myself is what we experience. So yeah. I do think that I'm open-minded. I'm definitely open to being persuaded on the idea of ghosts being a thing, but I've yet to be persuaded. So I remain ghostless. For now.
Fair enough. I am Zach. I'm from Utah.
Hi, Zach.
I work in a company called Mizu Pool Covers. I am a believer in all things paranormal. I have had experiences myself. I started experiencing encounters or whatever you call it at a pretty young age, which we'll dive in maybe in the future. But that's me.
Okay, I'll go next, because I'm the last one to go next. My name is Josh. A lot of people call me Jelly.
Hey, Jelly.
Kind of just what I go by.
You'll probably hear me and Aiden both call him Jelly the whole time. So
yeah,
absolutely.
I'm kind of a middle ground between these two. I don't fully believe everything, but I'm also not completely unbelieving of anything. I don't believe in spirits necessarily. I don't believe in ghosts. I do believe in demons. I was born and raised in a Christian household, so I believe in a lot of biblical representations of demons. I don't believe that when someone dies that their spirit is left here on earth to be a ghost or a wandering spirit of any kind. But I do believe that demons exist because they don't come from people that have died. They come from hell itself.
Yeah, they're not human.
Right, they're not human. I do believe those exist. So I'm kind of like in that middle ground. I believe that demons can definitely manipulate the environment. They can intrude their way into places, but I don't believe that stuff is ghost related. I believe if anything, it's either a coincidence, unexplainable, just event, or something maybe demon related. I don't know.
By biblically accurate demon, what do you mean? Like what form do demons take is my question.
Demons can take quite a few forms. I believe in demon possession too. I believe that if you are susceptible to demon possession, if you don't have the Holy Spirit living inside your body. Again, I was born and raised Christian, so I'm going to give a lot of my biblical
absolutely.
Ideas on this. So you're going to hear a lot of religious stuff throughout the podcast, I'm sure. Yeah. I think that demons can manipulate the environment. They can possess people. They can cause people to do things that they couldn't normally do before, like speaking an entirely different language that they could never speak before, or could climb on walls, that kind of stuff. Be able to name themselves. I know that's a big thing with demons, is that they all have names. Every demon has a name, but obviously you don't know that name unless it reveals its name. But biblically, demons don't tend to reveal their names because that's a weapon that can be used against them. Demons, you can if you know a demon's name, you can control that demon. They're not made to have this like they are always under someone else's law. They can't do whatever they want without given permission. If you have a demon's name, you don't own that demon in a way, but you can basically
like
you can exercise it, you can tell
mercenary?
it. I guess in a way.
Yeah.
Because you can tell it what to do if you have its name, almost. Not like that, not the sense that you can be like, oh, go possess this person instead, but you can exercise it, you can tell it to get out, that kind of stuff.
That would be kinky for me. I'd be like, whatever, like a demon's name. Bartholomew, go make me a ham and cheese or something.
I wish.
Kinky. That's
dude,
kinky
I
to you?
wish.
Yeah.
Ham and cheese.
Ham and cheese is so kinky.
It is kinky. It is kinky.
Oh,
ham
dude.
and cheese is really kinky. It's a thing, okay? There are people out there. You just gotta find the people.
Hey, I'm not here to judge, man. I'm not here to judge.
Yeah.
Jelly.
Leave me and my grilled ham and cheese alone.
I will. Sorry, my bad. A thing to tell you guys, like I believe I'm susceptible to spirits. The veil, how I explain it is the veil is thinner for me. Because ever since I was a young age, I literally can tell you the first time I ever heard a spirit, which I fully believe is a spirit. And I've heard spirits ever since, but I can also feel the presence of a spirit whenever
why don't do you want to go into one of your experiences and explain kind of where that came from, where your believing in ghosts comes from?
I mean, yeah, I'm also religious along with Jelly here. So when I was a young age, I guess the hearing and like being the veil is thinner for me, I think comes from my family. My family has tons of stories and experiences just having to deal with spirits and stuff. And so I think I just got it from my family. And I'll tell you the first time I ever heard a spirit. We were living in this one house. I was I think 10 at the time, or maybe even 9. I was 9 or 10. So I was pretty dang young. And sometimes when you're a kid, the nights are rough, you go to sleep and you're like, this is horrifying. Every night is horrifying. For me as a kid, I always had a hard time sleeping at nights because I was very easily scared, and I feel like every night was a battle to like get through the night. So I got through the night, the sun was shining.
And what age is this? This is like
I think
early or like
it's early. So like I said, 9, 10. And then before then, I think even like I'd say till I was like 6 to like,
interesting.
I'd say around until I was like 14, honestly.
Okay. Wow.
It was always
okay. So your first experience 9 and 10, and it was at your old house, and I'm assuming did it happen at night? Because
no. That's what I'm trying to say.
Like this was hard to sleep. Right.
Well, no. It was hard to sleep, and it was in the morning. The sun was shining through the windows. It was like super bright. This is why it's crazy to me, because I woke up and I wasn't scared at all when I got out of bed. I was literally heading upstairs to watch cartoons. That's what makes this like even like I guess more to me that I feel like it was a spirit, because it was in the daytime. Like I wasn't scared. It wasn't at night where your mind. I definitely believe that your mind can play tricks on you, and it's not always a spirit. You'll hear something, and it's like I'm not going to think everything is a spirit.
It was like an authentic experience. You weren't your mind. Like there was no bias by your mind going into it.
Yeah. But I walked out, and I was in the basement, but there's still a lot of windows in the basement. It wasn't dark at all. I was going to head upstairs to watch cartoons, as you do when you're 9 or 10. And as soon as I was about to turn to head up the stairs, in the corner of the room, very clearly, I heard, Zach, just like that. I turned around and sprinted back into my room. And I was sharing a room with my older brother, and I actually got under the covers with him because I was so scared. And then he got mad at me and pushed me off the bed.
Gotta love brothers.
Yeah. But ever since then, even to this day, so when I was younger, it happened very frequently. The house was very hard for me to live in. I always felt like something was watching me, and personally, even if it wasn't evil, it was tormenting me there. Because it knew I was aware of its presence, and so I'd hear all the time, just around the house, Zach, all the time, just being called out my name. There had been times where I'd always try to go sneak into my parents' room to sleep every night. I'd try to sneak in and they'd lock the door because they were like, why they don't want me in there, So some nights their door would be locked, and if their door was locked, I'd just sit in the living room, turn on cartoons, and just try to get my mind off it, right? But my parents said I don't remember this, but my parents said even when I was in their room, when I'd go in their room to sleep at night, they would find me under their bed because I was so scared.
Under their bed?
Yeah, under their bed. Like, you'd think the comfort of being in my parents' room alone would be enough, but no, I had to literally be under their bed.
That's funny because a lot of like scary stories revolve around the monster being under the bed.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic.
Anyway,
your defense mechanism was that. That's
to finish this story off. Like, even to this day, there will be times, it doesn't happen like often at all, but there are times where I will very clearly just hear Zach all the time. It happens randomly and I'll freak out. But to end this story, I think a few years ago I was talking to my mom about it because she knew my whole experience in there. And she'd always tell me, it's just in my head. You nothing to worry about. It's just your head. You're just young and scared. And I always wrote it off of that. And then my mom is also susceptible to, spirits and stuff. And she's like, no, I felt things in that house when we lived there. And she just never told me when I was a kid because she didn't want to freak me out even more.
So you don't think it was like almost like a mild form of schizophrenic, like instances or anything?
I don't believe so.
Because I mean, a lot of times, people that are schizophrenic can it can go away. Like you don't have to have. Not everybody has to have a treatment for it. Sometimes they can have a mild schizophrenia,
for sure,
and that'll go away as they get older. And a lot of times when it happens, there's still be occasionally something that'll happen. Like they'll hear something or whatever, but it's not very often. Which is kind of what it sounded like to me. But again, if it's a family thing, what are the odds that everyone is schizophrenic?
I hope it's not that, but I hear other things too. It's not just my name. Because I'm not like hearing voices all the time. I'm not trying to tell you like I'm just always hearing things.
Yeah, you're walking around just hearing Zach every couple of seconds.
No, and it's always the same
and you're just
voice.
Like, holy shit, I'm a vessel for spirits. Holy shit, they're coming from my body.
It's always the same voice when I hear it. Actually, this freaked me out. This little girl came up to me and she was like, "Zach, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Are you okay?" She's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm just asking because I'm just wondering, do you hear your name call out to you at all? Like, and no one's there?" I'm like, I don't remember how I responded because
yikes.
I was like, yeah, but I didn't want to just be like, yeah, all the time, So I think I was like, I don't remember what I said, but she's like, "Yeah, well, I just want to tell you because your guardian angel's worried about you." And then she walked away.
Was she your guardian angel?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe she literally was like, "I'm worried about you. Hey, are you okay?"
Bruh. The thing calling out my name is no guardian angel. I get freaked out every time I hear it, That thing plays no games. No fun games, at least. Things like that. And then, I don't hear things all the time. It only happens. So I can watch scary movies. I'm fine. But if I watch something with more of an evil tone to it, you know how movies have I feel like there's scary movies and then evil movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is an evil movie?
The Exorcist. Just one off the top of my head.
So basically just demon-based movies.
Just demon-based movies that are just feel...
Case closed, demon. Let's move. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, that's the end of this podcast, right?
And that's the end of Phantom Archive. We wrapped it up. We solved it in just under 20 seconds. No.
Sorry, I'm talking a lot. I'm going to wrap it up real quick.
No, man, go for it.
I guess I'll just share one more experience. So there's The Haunting of Hill House, the show on Netflix. Have you guys seen that?
I have not.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It's really good. I really enjoyed it. And I wouldn't say it's evil, but it was really, it kind of freaked me out. And usually when I watch more things that aren't a great vibe, because I'm a believer in if you invite something unintentionally, you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, that can just invite a spirit in,
I agree. For demons.
Yeah. Anyway, I watched the show and that whole night I could feel them all in my room and I could hear.
And it wasn't a paranoia thing. It wasn't you watch the show and then you're like.
Honestly, I'm not ruling that out. It very well could be, but I've had paranoia things all the time. And I don't hear things, because I literally heard clattering and chit chat in my room. They were Like it was like very.
They were talking.
Yeah, they were talking. I could hear like. I don't know how to explain it, but it was very soft and
Ghost conversation.
yeah, literally. It's
What
how
were they
you would
talking
think.
about?
I don't know. I couldn't make out any of the words, but I could just hear.
I feel like I've heard that before too.
And it was like after I watched something that kind of didn't have the best vibe. Because I'll watch scary movies and I'll be fine. And then even if I am a little bit more scared by them, I'm having a hard time falling asleep, I'll be able to fall asleep and then no worries. But when it could be paranoia.
It wasn't scary as much as it was something that you felt was like evil intent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I've heard something similar to that before. Like one night I was laying in my bed trying to sleep, could not sleep for the life of me. And every once in a while I would kind of like tune in and I would hear something. It almost sounded like whispers, but it sounded like they were really far away, even though
Yeah,
it kind of sounded like it was right next to me, but at the same time super far away because it was a whisper. And it sounded like multiple whispers at once, but I couldn't make out what it was saying. And I just could not sleep because it kept just intruding.
right.
Almost. But I didn't watch anything like demonic or scary or anything that night either. I
mean, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't even have to be you to invite it in. It could be someone in your household, and then whatever. It's not going to stay there either unless you invite it to stay. But it'll pass through. And then I don't believe. I mean, I do believe some spirits inhabit things, but I also think some haunted places aren't really haunted as well.
And do you think that maybe
a lot of it's tourist attraction?
Do you think that maybe like almost like entertaining it as a form of inviting it to stay in a way, like some place that may be haunted, maybe like a really popular place for kids to go out and do their little ghost huntings or whatever and be like, this is so cool.
Well, yeah,
you think that maybe that's a way of entertaining it so it stays longer? Yeah,
exactly. It's entertaining, it stays longer. But I mean, if you're looking for something evil, it'll find you. You're not really going to find it.
Right, yeah.
I guess you will find it in that sense, but it'll come to you because you're looking for evil. Right. It'll find you.
I feel like if you're looking for something evil or inviting those things in, you almost turn into like a beacon of light.
Okay,
exactly. What's up, Aiden?
I do actually believe that spirits exist. Not spirits in terms of like ghosts, but I've had experiences with animals explicitly, and right after the death of loved ones. It's been something where it's almost too coincidental that things happen, and I choose to not try to rationalize it because I'd prefer to think that out there, like, there are souls floating around, and that, our loved ones are not actually gone forever, and that, maybe they can inhabit bodies of animals or something to send messages and alert us that they are there. And so I don't entirely dismiss the idea. It's just that the way I see it, it's, like, we're born with the capacity, and then it's like, it is based on like how we're raised and the process that we go through of being taught, certain things that need to be taught. And that forms like a rational human being. Obviously we all have consciousness, which is weird. And that's something everyone struggles with. So you like think, oh, okay, so, I must have a soul. And then that leads right into ghosts. And it's like, oh, if I have a soul, then I'm probably not all that I'm just composed of. I'm not just my body. Then that means there's something else that we can't see.
Right. And the spirit thing too, I believe everyone has a spirit, but I don't believe that your spirit stays here on Earth after your death.
Okay. That's also what I think. With that, should we talk about our first case?
Hey, we're here. It's 40 minutes in, but welcome.
40 minutes. Yes, welcome.
Welcome.
To
okay, no, but
people listening to this uncut, just like getting two introductions.
Before we get into it, Aiden, I want to know
my initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. I have more than a couple. Here's a couple of things. A couple issues I have with older stories is that our sciences and our medical centers and just everything medical has become a lot better very recently, at least with allowing people, especially with mental health as an issue. The first kind of thing that pops out in my mind as like a possibility to explain ghosts is, as Jelly previously mentioned, schizophrenia has not been diagnosed for the majority of history of human history.
And it
like
could
we've just been getting into that.
Yeah, and it could be like, for all we know, everyone could have it to a certain degree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, our brains are too complex to understand entirely. You could have a couple people who are schizophrenic in the past who say, "Oh, I'm hearing voices," or I hear people in this place, or people anywhere. And it might be that like people pass that on as truth. I don't know. That's a theory. But let me know what you guys think. What's the like evidence or the history on the case?
With that,
I need to hear more about that.
That's actually a very good first beginning thoughts. But who says the haunting started that early?
Right.
So,
and a lot of mental asylums are like people say they're cursed, or like just asylums in general, which usually house people who have mental or like neurological disorders. So I don't know. It could be a possibility.
I think it's a good point. I think especially with, obviously your mind can play tricks on you. Auditory and visual hallucinations are not uncommon, especially when sleep deprived or whatever. So with a mix of like schizophrenia, sleep deprivation, all this stuff, it's like, how much can you believe like that the stuff from the past is tangible stuff,
Yeah, you always have to question things, but that's my thought process too. As like I'm very science oriented in terms of my thought process, and everything in science, as far as we consider, is a theory. So right now nothing's concrete, and I'd like to hear more about the history of this because just from the introduction, I could dismiss it as like, oh, maybe someone's schizophrenia, but that's just off there and out there. So I'd love to hear more about this.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
The Willard Library, I believe it was finished being built in 1884. It was designed by James and Merritt Reed, who were known for designing the Hotel del Coronado, right?
Coronado?
Coronado, yeah, the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego.
Yeah,
are you familiar with that?
I know the Hotel Coronado. Yeah, I've been to Coronado Beach, and Coronado's interesting because the way the town or parts of Coronado is set up is they're very old time feel.
Yeah,
at least compared to like Pacific Beach or like other parts of San Diego. So it's funny that you found that, and it's San Diego because it is a creepier part of town, if I had to be honest.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it is very old style. Like 1884, it was designed very Victorian goth, which is very prevalent in like the pointed arch windows and all that kind of stuff that they have going on there architecturally. Very Victorian Gothic.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No. Well, yes, it looks similar.
Yeah. So that architectural design was James and Merritt Reed, but however, the building itself was built by Willard Carpenter.
Do they play into this story as well, or
yes,
they just kind of
the family will play into the story?
Yeah, library was completed in 1884. That was cut the red ribbon. Done for. But unfortunately, Willard was never able to see it because he died of a stroke literally the year prior in 1883.
How long was he working on it before he died?
I believe it was...
In 1876 is when he established the trust fund for...
Yes. 1876? So 7 years? Wow. Okay, thanks, Saf.
From my knowledge of this story, too, this was like his passion project. So it's kind of really unfortunate that he died before even seeing it be complete.
Right.
Yeah, it's his holy grail.
You never get to see it.
You think he was haunted? You think that's why he died?
See, the thing is, he was like a really good dude. Like, he wanted this library. Back then, the library wasn't, libraries wouldn't be free for people. He wanted this to be an open library for everyone. I feel like if he died from being haunted, it's probably because he did something to deserve being haunted to die that. And
okay. That's true.
Yeah.
I see.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very influential at the time. I mean, and obviously, even the best people, they have their skeletons in the closet. You never know what's really going on. But
true.
So, on the outside, he could have been like the most influential, most amazing person, but you never know what he was dealing with.
That's
Facts.
also true. Yeah.
Yeah, so he built this library, never got to see it finished. In his will, he left a huge portion of like the estate and the library and like all this money to the library itself, I believe, right? Instead of
Like
leaving
to his
it to
kids
his
and stuff.
children.
Wow. Imagine being that kid.
Yeah. Being the kid. I want the library. What?
You want the library?
I want the library.
Bro, if he was able to afford to buy a library or build a library, put tons of books and then just make it free, he could afford to give some of his money to his kids.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was his kid, I'd be like, damn, Dad, really? Like,
It'd be,
they
honestly,
were not happy.
Yeah.
you're choosing books over me? Come on. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he came to Evansville, 1822. He settled down 1837, and he was known as the pioneer of public charity. He was very influential. He was involved in promoting railroads in South Indiana. He was one of the principal movers in promoting the Evansville and Terre Haute railroad system. He led an important role in the completion of the Wabash and Erie Canal. Even he was elected a member of legislature. He served until 1852. He was an active member in getting several important measures, such as bills for the equalization of taxation, for lowering the salaries of county officers, and for raising those of state officers. So he did a lot for like the community.
Yeah, like I said, I remember him, like, from what I know of this story, is he is a very, from what we hear, is a good dude. Like, he's a good dude.
Right, he's done a lot good.
Just wait till
Except for
Twitter
his
hears
kids,
about
though.
him, bro. They'll dig up some shit. They'll find some shit out of him.
You can never stop Twitter. Twitter will find it.
Cancel him. Get him canceled.
Cancel culture's OP,
Imagine.
man.
He's dead already.
Yeah, so he married a woman named Lucina Berkelow, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm butchering any of these names. He had 5 children,
But
Marcia, Louise, and Albert are the more like
Yeah, important
staple children.
They're the survivors. It was the 5. There were 3 alphas and 2 betas.
Exactly.
Wikipedia says 3 children that mattered.
Yeah, 3 children.
So Marcia,
No.
Luis, and Albert, they inherit this library, do they not? Oh no, you're right.
Right,
The
'cause-
library inherited his money, is what they.
Right. Instead of them inheriting his money.
His daughter, Louise, actually sued the library because she stated that her dad was not in the right state of mind when he wrote the will. So she was trying to just get all that money back. She was trying to take it.
Oh yeah,
from the
yeah.
library.
She was.
Right.
She contested the will.
Yeah, pretty
Damn.
much. And so she
I
sued the
literally
It
library.
didn't work.
it. I said they were salty, bro. I was like, dude, if your dad was loaded,
Right. And she did that, but it didn't work, unfortunately. So
no. Where did the hauntings begin? Is kind of where my brain is leading me, because I'm intrigued.
it cuts about 40, 50 years later, like 1930s-ish. There's all of a sudden these sightings. There's some sort of unexplainable person. People claim to be as like a ghost they see walking around in like inside this library, dressed in like 1800s style clothing, like a long gray dress with like high top shoes, a gray hat, and with like even a veil or a shawl going on. They nicknamed her the Gray Lady because of all the gray garments she was wearing.
The Gray Lady.
yeah.
Ooh. That reminds
gray.
me of that,
Not as an old. But I'm sure she was old.
Oh yeah, well,
Apparently, too, I guess there's many gray ladies and a lot of hauntings, I guess. Which is, I find funny how they all name them the Gray Lady.
oh,
They're all the Gray Ladies.
There's
I didn't
all
know if you meant like they appear as Gray Ladies or like there's literally multiple Gray Ladies.
No. Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen a gray. I haven't. This is called the Gray Lady, but are there more?
Oh,
the
this
gray
is the
ladies?
Gray. Yeah, yeah. We
This is
We
one
only-
of the many Gray
we only deal with the number ones around here. The Gray
only
Lady.
Yeah, exactly.
Only the number.
Anyway, that was
The
just.
alpha Gray Lady.
Alpha, yeah, the one that matters.
Yeah, so people were seeing this lady walking around the library, all gray, like very gray, old-timey garments. They said that when they saw her, that they like smelt like a really strong perfume or something, like something really like physical.
Okay.
And she's been able to like turn on and off the lights, opening and closing doors. Like this is all things that they've seen happening with this ghostly presence.
So, Zach,
Yeah.
when a spirit's able to like react physically with the world. What do they call that?
Poltergeist, I believe. But
Poltergeist. Dude, there was one movie that really scared me as a kid, if I'm being honest.
what movie?
This is tangential, but but Paranormal Activity did make me believe in ghosts for about a month or two, where I had
really?
nightmares every night. Yeah, nightmares every night. I'd go and try to sleep with my parents, but they'd lock the door. It was eerily similar to yours.
Mhm.
And I was very scared for a long time, but I hadn't experienced anything physical or like just experienced anything in terms of ghosts. But that movie really scares you, or really scared me as like a 6-year-old, because my uncle showed me it as a 6-year-old. Paranormal Activity.
That's not good.
Yeah, no, I did believe in ghosts when I was very young because of that movie. It scared me so badly. At some point in my life, I did. I was a believer. I thought I would hear things at nighttime. I couldn't go sleep. I had a night light that was blue, and I'd always be looking at it because I didn't know if someone was going to turn it off. Because in the movie, something happens and they're in a room, and then the light shuts off, and the light shuts back on, and someone's getting like carried away.
Yeah.
And it really scared me. So I would stare at my nightlight until I fell asleep, and it wasn't healthy. I went like a month getting like very little sleep, and like when I switched off of nightlights, I was not chilling. Absolutely not. But that's again a tangent. Sorry. So they see a gray lady.
Yeah.
And she smells like perfume. So it's not just a physical thing. It is physical in two capacities. It's not just one sense.
Have you guys ever had experiences of? I mean, I guess Jelly hasn't, because he only believes in demons on this plane of existence. But have you guys ever had smelled a loved one that you're a relative?
You know, I've never had that happen.
Back in our old house, my grandma, we call her Nanny. So my nanny, we had her ashes, at her house before we buried her. And we had her ashes actually in my closet. We kept them there. And all the time I'd get, she had a very floral perfume that she'd always wear. And I'd smell her quite a bit, randomly.
Oh.
And in my opinion, I'm just like, it's Nanny's here with me right now. That's all it is. I'm not scared of it. I wasn't scared of the smell.
Yeah, so you're comforted by the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's my nanny. She's here with me right now.
Yeah, it's just giving you a hug.
Yeah.
No, that's creepy.
I feel like I've gotten that perfume smell thing, but not from people that are dead. I've just I'll be like, that smells like someone's perfume.
You guys have met people that wear perfume, bro? I haven't.
Yo, it's crazy, dude. Once or twice. Lots of people saw this gray lady, waltzing around the building. But the first recorded sighting was actually by a janitor who came in late to work at the building. He would stoke furnaces in the basements, in the library, the children's library.
Can we just point out that the children's library part of the library is in the basement?
That's creepy.
Why do they tuck the children's in a basement?
The kids in the basement.
Push them
That's
away.
why
just toss them down there.
This is why you always see the children's section on the top floor now.
Exactly.
The library.
Exactly. This is the instant. I've heard enough giggling in the basement. Let's put them up top.
Yeah, we don't do basement giggles around here. We do top floor giggles. Less scary.
Exactly.
I'd rather fall down the stairs trying to get away than fall up the stairs because it's quicker.
Defensive tumble.
Yeah, long story short, that janitor quit the next day.
You said it was recorded. Where's the recording?
This was the 1800s, my dude.
Oh, recorded as in historically recorded? Yeah,
historically recorded.
Oh, okay.
Not or the 1930s.
Bam, they got video? Okay.
But yeah, this janitor literally ran into her, got the heck out of there, and then he literally went in the next day and he just quit, right?
Yeah. So he saw her, was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then he literally the next day he quit.
I think that gives it more credence, to people who are like, oh, you just saw something. He was so frightened about what he saw, he knew in his mind she wasn't supposed to be there. And he was like,
yeah, that job was not worth it.
I'm never doing this again. So he quit. I just think that gives it more credence to the story.
Yeah. The way I'm seeing it, I'm just thinking, damn, this dude must have hated his job. He's like, there's a ghost. I can't go in there. Sorry, bud. You better be paying me double what I'm getting paid now if you want me going back in that thing.
The janitor that replaced him was a little bit more ballsy, too. He had a few contacts with her before he quit. Yeah.
He saw her a few more
apparently
times.
he didn't just be like, no, I'm out of here. He was like, well, maybe it could be this, could be that. He was testing it out a little bit, and then he quit. He bumped into her in the basement. It's always the basement. Don't go to the basement. Never go in the basement. I don't even go in my own basement. But yeah, he saw her many times. He quit after that.
What a pussy. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
Come on, man.
Dude, if it's in a dark library in the basement of a children's section, children are the most scary kind of ghosts. Okay, I just want to point that out.
Children are frightening.
Exactly. So it's like you go in the children's section and you see just you clearly know no one's there but yourself, and you see just a lady in gray just standing there.
You go into the children's section and you see the only person you see in there is not a child. Dude,
it's not.
Yeah.
I don't.
So yeah, that's like some of the first sightings by janitors. I guess a lot later, it was even like the 70s. Around that time, people still were seeing reports of giving reports of seeing this gray lady, who maybe was the same gray lady. I don't know. I've just learned that there's multiple gray ladies. Yeah, spotted 1970s by a lot of different librarians. A lead librarian going by the name of Margaret Mayer claims that she saw a ghosted figure while surveying the progress of the project. Unknowingly, the figure seemed to follow her home all the time on that night.
Wait. So the librarian said the ghost from the library would follow her home?
Yeah.
To see, Aiden,
but she didn't.
You'd stay, bro, after hearing that, or after experiencing that, because you were calling him. You were calling the janitor a pussy before. But if the figure's actually following you home,
he is. Here's how you do it, man. If I was living in this place, as far as I know right now, I wouldn't be scared. At least I don't think I would. And I'd go to my boss and be like, boss, listen. If you believe there's a ghost, then there's a ghost, which means I'm not getting paid enough.
Exactly.
More. And I'd slowly work my wage up to be really high for the times, and then I just boom, and then for one, I get to talk about the ghost at my work. So good conversation starter. For two, I'm making bank as a janitor. Fuck it, I'll take it, bro. Sure. And then for three, I'd also get haunted by a gray lady, which is more physical touch than I'm used to.
It's some form of female presence, so you're fine with it.
If the gray lady would want to follow me home, I'm so vulnerable. Wait, so was this? People spotted her later in the 70s or reported seeing her, but are there recent reports? Because I'm assuming the library's still open.
Yeah. There's actually there's said to even be hauntings to this day. People have seen whatever it may be, even as late as the early 2000s.
But that was it though, right? Just the last known early
report?
2000. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the gray lady retired. She might have. Maybe she was like, I'm kind of getting too old for this, and then.
Her spirit was laid to rest.
Yeah, maybe.
She must have I don't know whatever she was doing. She had a plan, and she must have completed her plan. I don't know what do you guys think she's plotting? What do you do if you're in a library other than read books?
Find and follow a white lonely man that just needs the physical, spiritual touch of a woman.
Are you okay, Zach? Do you need to talk about something?
No, I'm calling out Aiden, though. This isn't about me.
It's about you? The way you're saying you sound really lonely.
I have a wife. I'm good.
There you go. You're clean.
Loyal married men.
I don't have a wife.
Jelly and I are single. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us home,
if there's a great lady around,
you can walk through my door. You don't need the key.
Hey, you can walk through me even. I'm just saying.
Whoa.
I'm just putting it out there.
Jelly's not playing around.
This is.
This is no games around.
Yeah, and the gray lady. She's listening in somehow.
Somewhere.
If you are, my address. Cut that all out. Cut that all out.
Cut that.
Yeah, so Margaret Mayer had followed her home, and then on that same night that it followed her home, her son apparently witnessed a woman in a long gray dress vanish before his eyes on the second floor of their house.
Jeez.
Yeah, on another night, Margaret and her sister Ruth were watching TV when suddenly they caught a whiff of a strong perfume. Flashback. From the other room, they heard their clothes dryer suddenly turn on by itself, and the gray lady appeared a few more times around her house, apparently, showing up in front of different family members. And it seemed like the gray lady definitely took a liking to Margaret and her family. Yeah,
Like I stay strapped.
exactly.
Gray lady.
Just holding hands practically.
Yeah, actually, I am I'm not a big proponent of the Second Amendment, but I am a proponent of being haunted. If I can, instead of having a gun on me, I have the gray lady who I can send to curse people. Yeah, give me that.
If you had
I'm
the
not about
power-
guns, but I'm all about holding hands. So.
I ain't about guns, but I'm about witchcraft. Give me that. The Queen would be cool if she haunted me. Being haunted by the Queen. That's something I'd want. Because
Amen.
I mean,
What?
listen, she'd probably just turn on the tea kettle and prepare biscuits. And what else
Prepare
what else did she do
biscuits?
before she died? I don't know. She wrote a letter to Australia. You guys hear about this? No, yeah, just before she died, she wrote a letter entitled, actually, I don't know the title. She wrote a letter and she sent it to Australia and was like, Australia, this letter's for you, but nobody can open it for 66 years. And so currently, we're just waiting. Literally nobody's allowed to open it because that's the rules of the monarchy. It says that if she says not to open it, you can't open it.
Bro, if
I'm
that
gonna
was
fly
sent
to
to
Australia
America,
and take a peek.
if that was sent to America, we'd open that shit so fast. It'd be opened.
Well, what's she gonna do? She's dead.
Exactly. But even before she was dead, we'd have it open.
Dude, you'd get sued by the
We'd be reading it
entire
while she's
government
writing.
of England.
I'm
What
pretty
do you
sure if
mean?
you just get sued by another government in another country, that's just war.
Yes, but you'd get taken to court in the US somehow. What, you think the US would rather protect you than their relationship with England? Think again.
Bro,
Depends. How much do we need tea and crumpets?
I like how with this one there were sightings from from early on. No, but I
Yeah.
appreciate that because it is a little bit more it's not concrete, but right, it's not a one-off experience, which is one of my main gripes with paranormal things is when people just say is a personal experience and there's no account. And not to I'm not trying to discredit your experiences at all, Zach,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just as a science man, evidence-based
as a
person
science
kind of thing.
True.
It's harder. Yeah, it's harder to really prescribe myself to ideas without those kind of facts or those kind of anything of that sort. But I did like how there were multiple accounts, and the fact that the janitor, got out. Yeah, probably more likely that he did believe what he saw, and it's not just making it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just
Right.
stories.
There's still more sightings.
One of which was by a special collections librarian named Joan. Had an experience with the Gray Lady after the remodeling of the building. She was reading a book and walked from the upstairs staff room down to the basement. Go figure. Dumb idea.
Ugh.
Yep. While walking by some stacks of books, she had a feeling that she was about to run into someone. So she looked up, stopped in her tracks, looked up, and there she was, Gray Lady, right in front of her. She did not quit. She's even better than them janitors, dude.
Hey, see, that's her. That's what I would be if I was an old lady and a librarian and I saw a ghost. I know that makes no sense at all.
And it
But
had
she
to be a
looked
woman.
away.
If I was in that experience, I would just be chilling. I'm good.
Yeah, she came across it. She looked away, looked back. It wasn't there. Kind of cliche, if you ask me. I don't know. Typical ghost. I looked away, I looked back, and it wasn't there.
Ghost cliches. Yeah.
But the reason she didn't quit is because Joan claims the presence she saw hadn't felt threatening. It was just some lady just kind of chilling down there. You're not supposed to be here, but you're just chilling, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, It's because like she also has like a sweeter scent, right? Like a perfume scent, which is interesting for ghosts, at least to me. That like it would be like a light memory, or not a light memory, like a positive thing for your senses. Most ghost stories are pretty negative, so it kind of surprised me that it was like, oh, she smells like perfume.
I think, it's almost like a comforting kind of way. It's like, oh, you don't smell threatening at all.
Yeah.
We have another sighting here from Miss Lucille Warren, who is a parapsychologist. She visited the library to see if she could get more information on the Gray Lady. So she had already known about this before visiting the place. She claims that she's seen the ghostly figure in the children's library, typical go-to room.
Seems like
she gave an in-depth description of the Gray Lady, even to prove that she saw it, which included like her clothing, her hairstyle, like the style of what she was wearing, which is again early 19th century.
Garments and robes, kind of thing.
Yeah, like the same kind of stuff we were talking about before, where she has like the braids, the veil, the dress or the shawl.
Yeah, I could see her in my mind's eye. She's gorgeous.
Oh, just look at that breath of fresh air from 200 years ago.
Just walk right through me. I can see.
I want to smell like roses.
Yeah. So, but the thing with Warren here is she says that her interaction with the Gray Lady seemed to be more in depth than others. I don't know if she felt some kind of connection with it or not, but she says that the Gray Lady is said to be shy. She doesn't really speak. She wasn't haunting the library or anything. She was just kind of there.
Right. So what are the theories for who this person is then?
So we're about to get to that, actually.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Along with the sightings, I'm going to add one thing. The sightings haven't just been in person. They've also been in pictures and live streams that you can go to today. Go to the Willard Library live streams. They have cameras set up running 24/7 that anyone can go and watch right now.
That's cool.
Which is awesome, because you can just go and actually find evidence. And so in this picture I sent, you can kind of see there's a lady walking down the steps.
Oh, I see. So that's an image taken off their website?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then this one, which creeps me out the most, is taken from the children's library in the basement right here. And it kind of looks like a figure kind of crawling towards the camera.
Yeah, but that doesn't look like a lady in gray to me.
No, it doesn't. Well, people say there's more than one ghost. I don't know if we covered that other ghost, but it kind of just
I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, it's weird.
It looks
it's
like
a dark mass.
Little spider monkey.
It kind of does.
It does look like a spider monkey.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but so the other ghost, in 1992, so a more recent case, a child was visit the library with her family, and she claims to have seen the ghost of Margaret Mayer sitting in a peacock chair in the child's library section again, and the ghost of the Gray Lady was standing behind her.
Yes.
A double sighting, like a double rainbow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like kind of crazy, bro.
Double rainbow all the way across.
That's like when you order like 10 McNuggets from McDonald's, but there's actually 11 in there.
Oh my gosh, such a good feeling.
Dude, I got
exactly.
a 6-piece shrimp, and they give me 7-piece. And guess what?
Oh,
I didn't eat the 7th piece.
No, you did not eat it.
What?
I wasn't that hungry. I just wanted the 6-piece.
Okay, so Saf, I have a question, because the other ghost was spotted. They named her. They named the ghost. So obviously, this person might have known the deceased. So the person that reported it, did she know? How did she know it was that person when she saw it?
I don't think I can find anything on how she knew it was Margaret Mayer, but that's who she claims it was.
Yeah.
Margaret Mayer.
She was the lady that the ghost had followed home.
Right. So basically, you know how that story ends. Margaret Mayer is now dead. Supposedly, if that is Margaret Mayer, who's just claimed to have seen.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to like the theories of
the theories are
these
next.
ghosts?
So there's a couple theories. The first theory is that the Gray Lady may actually be Louise. Remember Louise from earlier, the daughter of Willard that was very upset about not getting the money, who attempted to sue the library.
Yeah.
I mean, the first theory is that obviously she didn't win the lawsuit. She was very upset, and she is still upset to this day, and roams the library.
So Louise?
Yeah, so that's the first theory, is that they think that Louise could have been the Gray Lady, but it also contradicts because Louise, very upset, wrote not good things about, like, Willard was an ill state of mind. Like, he should have given her that money or whatever it may have been.
It would have felt like that haunting should have been like a more serious, or not serious, but like it should be negative, right? Like,
more sinister presence.
Yeah, the thing is, the Gray Lady was always just never hostile, never just kind of there, and always seemed to be like a nicer type of person. So that's kind of like the first theory. I don't really believe that.
I mean,
but
of course you don't.
Yeah, yeah. But given it on paper, if I had to choose a theory one, not my go-to choice. If we were talking from a fictional standpoint,
I agree, though. I don't think it's a very strong theory. If that was me, if I was haunting that place, I would reek. First of all, I'm not putting on perfume. Second of all, I am dead, bro. If I'm dead, I'm doing whatever, bro. I'm literally like, if I'm gonna haunt that place, okay, and it's my daddy's place, what he loves so much, enough to screw me out of big bucks, I'm gonna just start throwing the things off the walls, bro. I'm just tossing books, ripping pages.
Exactly.
Not in this, not what we wrote down, but I'm pretty sure there have been reports of the ghost throwing books off shelves and stuff. There have been reports of that as well.
Yeah, maybe just bad day.
She had enough bad days. She was like,
Yeah, that's the first theory. Louise could be the potential identity of the Gray Lady. But then there's a second theory. People believe that what the psychic Miss Lucille Warren was correct about the ghostly figure known as the Gray Lady, in which she said that this woman died by suicide in the canal on the property. So she haunts the grounds confused and sad, but possesses no harm to visitors and workers of the library.
I like that theory a little bit more. If I had to choose
I agree
one.
with you. I like the psychic was right.
Maybe it's because I just would prefer a non-hostile ghost.
Yeah, that's probably.
You just get so oversaturated by all like the evil ghosts that want to kill everybody. You know, it gets old.
Even if it's a nice ghost, no matter how nice it is, it's still scary. You know,
like, maybe.
Like,
but okay. But what if it's family? Think about it.
I guess I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's still family. Like, I'll smell my grandma. Like, oh hey grandma, I'm not scared, but it's still like, bro, that's a dead person just chilling.
It'd be eerie.
It's still just a little eerie.
I'd agree.
You know, it's still a little creepy
because it goes against what
it's unsettling.
We wanna.
Yeah.
It goes against. We want to believe what we see, feel, hear, what we experience. We don't want to just believe what we can't experience.
Yeah.
And that would be hard, especially if you experience something that you can't see or feel. Then
or
like,
that you can't explain.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a little odd. That's creeping my my brain in a way I don't like. That's
so what. So Aiden, Zach, what are your thoughts on this absolute rodeo of a story here?
I mean, I was kind of familiar with it from the start. I think it's an interesting case.
What theory do you like?
I like the second one. I definitely agree with you. The second one seems more.
We all prefer the second.
First
I also don't believe in psychics, but
yeah, I mean that's something I don't really super believe in either.
Yeah,
but, you know, if I'm proven
psychics
wrong,
are interesting. That's the thing with psychics. How can they prove you wrong?
Yeah.
If there is some level of like influence they're able to have, then it's impossible to tell whether you're just being tricked or not.
Yeah,
and I also take issue with psychics. We all agree, fuck psychics. Let's go.
Yeah, for real.
And it's like all they do is do a little research on their clients beforehand, and then they're able to come up with some way of making them believe. But like it's like they did that one 60 Minutes where they went in with a picture of a kid and they were like, can you help me find her? And the psychic's like, oh, this person's dead and they're buried here. And then the interview or the person that was like going to the psychic's like, that's a picture of me when I was a kid.
Oh wow.
And then the psychic's like, you need to leave.
Get caught.
And they kick her out, and then they kick them all out.
Nerd.
It's taking advantage of people's feelings, though. It's taking advantage of their beliefs in paranormal, and which I take issue with. At any point definitely. Where you're taking advantage of people's like a belief for money, for monetary gain, I've got issues with that morally.
Anyway, Aiden, you were going to say something about what you think is going on here, and I would love to hear it.
Oh yeah, your little debunk thing.
Yeah,
debunks.
I want to hear this debunk.
Debunk. Okay, I can debunk it. I can debunk it. Well, I mentioned schizophrenia, and that might be a case where schizophrenic people, stories get passed around, and people believe what they want to believe, but also. Our mind is incredibly powerful. Our mind is so powerful that, even though we have computers which are quicker, they're not technically like more powerful than our capacity of our brain. We have so many millions of wires, and we're so capable of learning and like not stopping learning. There's like almost no cap on the information our brain can intake. But here's the issue: wires get crossed. And sometimes people experience things they wholeheartedly believe were real. And I can chalk that up to a couple of things. There's mental health, there are drugs, and there's this thing called you just being, like your brain just playing tricks on you, obviously. We went over the idea that you can get tricked into seeing things. Yep. But there's also mass hysteria. And that's like where I think some of these stories go from stories to like sightings, quote unquote, is where people, they believe so hard that they experience things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they truly believe so much in their mind that this exists, that their brain makes up for it. And they go, okay, yeah, no, this is real, because if it isn't, this will destroy the system. Like this will just shatter someone's mind.
Right, because it's like if you walk into something believing wholeheartedly and like expecting to see something, a lot of times your brain will be like, "Here you go, here's what you're looking for."
Nobody wants to be told the opposite of what they believe. Nobody wants to change their beliefs. Like at our core, we're stubborn, which it comes from a lot of things, but I couldn't trace it. But we're stubborn. Like we can say we're open-minded, but people will go into a debate. They will want to believe their side in order to influence the other. You don't want to just like give up your point. Like, I believed this all my life, and now I can't. But also, who am I to judge, and who am I to say what's real and what's not? Because in reality, our eyes are also very tricky,
deceptive,
we don't see the world as all it is. Like we literally. Like lobsters can see 7 times the colors spectrum. So the world doesn't look the way we see it. It must look it must look different. So who am I to say they're aren't ghosts?
I mean I'm a huge I wholeheartedly believe in spirits and stuff, but I will agree every haunted place there ever is, a lot of it is just tourist trap, where they're like, oh, this place is haunted, you'll go there and you'll be like, nothing's going on there, it's just people saying things. And I agree, there's also people believing it so hard that they think they see it, and I agree with that 100%. And also they did a science study where apparently the because of haunted areas where people believe that they're haunted, they'll go there and be creeped out. Our minds are so powerful that that many minds in one area, like a haunted hotel where people go there to stay the night. I don't know how the study went, but it'll make things happen because of our minds, and so many minds that are looking for something. Does that make sense? And it'll just happen.
It's kind of
totally.
It's kind of like when if you think really hard about oh, I feel sick to my stomach, or I have a headache. Even if you don't, you start to feel
you'll feel it
sick. You'll start to feel it because your mind can has a lot of control over what your body,
Exactly. Yeah.
Truly, we have more power over our feelings, over our we have more power over our bodies than we realize, but our autonomy has been stripped of us because of circumstance and how we're raised. We sometimes think we're not capable of X, Y, and Z, or we don't know the full spectrum of what our brain and body is capable of. There are some, I'm in a class right now that talks about the power of the mind, which is gerontology, which is about the study of aging. And smarter people live longer, but also smarter people are more prone to schizophrenia and Alzheimer's. And so you see this, our brains are almost too powerful. And my gerontology professor was talking about specifically dementia as kind of a coping mechanism for the brain. He was mainly mentioning it as if say you're in prime physical condition to continue living, and your body is all there, but your mind is waning and tired, and it's this computer that's been functioning for 80-90 years. The easiest way to kind of break this cycle of living and thinking to cope about living, because that's what it is. And as you get older, it doesn't change. And as you approach kind of the end of your life, your brain does this thing where they're actually doing studies into this as dementia is a coping mechanism. Instead of it being a degenerative disease that deteriorates the mind, but it does, but more so it crosses a wire intentionally in order to escape kind of conscious thought, which I find to be even crazier, because you do this, you're not thinking about this. Dementia, people who have dementia, they don't act. Yeah, it just happens. Your mind, something deeper just says, all right, I think it's time that we cut the wire. I think it's time.
Right.
And it's your brain is so powerful.
It's actually
you can create
crazy.
Yeah, so you can create experience, essentially. And also drugs. I did mention drugs. Yeah, drugs can play a factor.
I've actually thought that, especially recently, I'm I feel like myself, and then I will be thinking, and I'm man, I feel like my brain is a whole separate being in there, man.
Yeah,
it's so weird, dude.
It's alien, dude. The way it works, it's crazy. It is
wild. That's kind of scary. That's the scariest thing. This podcast, this episode.
The brain.
Yeah, I would chalk it up to mental illness, or people not having access to glasses and seeing things when they don't actually see things. Maybe them being on drugs, or like I said, schizophrenia could be. But multiple people had sightings, so I can't say for sure.
What I also think is really cool is they've known about these sightings, and they put up live cameras, so you can find tangible evidence on your own. You know what I mean?
They're very confident in it.
Yeah, they're confident in it.
I'm not saying that's the reason, but I think it's cool that this is our thing. Let's put up cameras so people can investigate whenever they want. I just think that's a cool.
It is. Yeah. Anyway. That's also their way of saying, "Hey, this is our thing. Let's make money."
Yeah, that's also true.
And I think the stigma behind paranormal things being mainly false comes from the monetization and capitalization on the idea, as it is. And it's ghost hunters, ghost adventures, all these shows, or things that you consume that's the mainstream part of it. It's all frauds, which lends the idea that ghosts might or ghosts or paranormal activity is something to dismiss. But maybe there are actual things out there, and that it's not all for money. But it's just that the main things are always for money, and when I see it,
clouded.
Yeah, exactly. It is a misrepresentation, and it irks me, which makes me kind of less inclined to believe.
Right.
I think
I don't blame you at all. Right.
And I think that if it were the case, say ghosts and stuff are real, I feel like it's going to be vastly different and a lot tamer than, obviously, as you say, media portrays it to be. Because there's always that cliche, oh, I looked at it, I looked away and I looked back and it was gone. Or, oh, I saw it walking and it just vanished. Oh, or oh, it appeared on camera, but it wasn't here in real life. It always goes back to that same cliche thing that happens every time. I feel like in a real ghost experience, it would be vastly different.
It would be authentic and
yeah,
different.
Or even in a real ghost experience, you wouldn't even see the dang thing. Just something weird could happen, or you may just feel off put or something.
Well, yeah, well, that's how my experience was, and I will say, in one instance there were drugs involved. In one instance there wasn't, but like in both times it wasn't like, oh, this is a ghost thing, because every time it's a ghost thing, it's connoted to be scary and frightening. Right. But in the times I experienced something like spiritual, or on a spiritual level, where I thought, there's a possibility that there's like a soul of somebody near me, like it was always through an animal, and it was more calming than it was scary.
Yeah.
Like in more times I was more like, oh, that means they're looking out for me, rather than I was like, oh shit, they're still here. And like,
right.
Yeah. And this is a fun new thing that we're going to try.
Yes.
It's going to be bumpy along the way.
Yeah. We're going to start out kind of bumpy. Hopefully we get a nice groove later in. But I'm excited about it, and I hope we can make something quality and something you guys all enjoy.
Yeah. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed, talking about it. I
did too. I had
ups
a lot
and
of fun.
downs.
I didn't even realize it, so much time had passed. It
felt quick. It literally felt quick.
Thought.
Yeah.
Oh, and follow us on our socials, Twitter and Instagram at _Phantom Archive. That's a thing that we have now.
Yes. Go.
All the visuals we have talked about will be posted on our social media.
Yeah, all the pictures and stuff we were looking at and all that. Those will be up there.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's the ghost of the Willard Library.
Yeah, the gray lady.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.